Focus area, subject. Hi guys, we'll continue to talk about different ways of selecting objects, and today we'll talk about such an interesting function called the focus area. This operation selects the object on which the camera lens is focused. Let's try to do it. Go to the selection menu and choose the focus area. We have a dialog box that immediately starts working on the selection of the area that we need. In automatic mode, the program itself selects the object that is most focused and selects it. But of course, we can edit the resulting image by the way we want. Well, first of all, of course, we can change in focus range. Let's increase it. And as you can see, I have added a little bit of areas. So let's set even more. This way we can edit until we have all the necessary areas. But sometimes this option doesn't work very well, and added areas are not quite necessary. For example, right now we have such a fragment that we don't need. We take a brush with a minus sign and just remove this fragment. And if we want to add something to our composition, then we take a brush with a plus sign. We can adjust its size and edit those areas that we need to our selected object. Maybe a little bit more here. Next, we can edit the noise level if necessary, but usually auto mode creates the best option. We can also view our object in different ways. For example, we can choose black and white mode, and here we can see that some of the pieces are not selected. So we take a brush with a plus sign and edit these pieces to the selection. We can choose on layers mode, and in this case we'll either have a transparent area, or if already have a layer below, we can immediately see how this object will look on the layer that we have below. We can also choose where our selected object will be displayed. I mean, we can open it on a new layer or on a new document. It is desirable that you have a check mark near Soften Edge option, because in this case the edges will be softer. If we choose Selection Output, then the Select and Mask option will also be available to us, and here we can edit our selected area even more carefully. For example, we can just do a feathering in this particular case. I think it will be good enough, thus making the edges softer. And we can also take this brush, which is called Refine Edges, and paint those edges that I think are not edited very well. These edges, for example, but if you look closely, they are not very good. And if you take a Refine the Edge brush and paint them, then you'll see how they soften and how much better they become. With the help of the Dodge tool, we can move around the image, zoom it in and out. When the Alt is pressed, we have the Dodge tool with a minus sign, and this allows us, on the contrary, to zoom out the image. We can move around the image with the Hand tool. If necessary, we can, on the contrary, make the edges more contrasting, but it seems to me that this is not necessary in this particular example, so I will leave the edges soft. We can also shift the edge of the selection area. For example, we can reduce them. Well, I think in this case it is good enough, and we click OK. Here we have a selected area. If I had left the output method, which is called on a new layer, then that would have been cut out on a new layer, but since I haven't done that, now I will press Ctrl+J and move that I have selected to a new layer. I added a photo of the market as a background. Let's put them here, but I think it would be more harmonious if the background was a little more blurry. Let's go to the filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and we'll blur our background a little. I will make them a little bigger after all. And that's what I got when using an option called Focus Area. As you can see, it is quite convenient to work with it. Let's look at another operation related to creating a selection, which is very simple. Go to the selection menu and select the subject. And, as you may have guessed, in this case the subject that the program considers the main one will be selected. But, to be honest, as a rule, the selection is not perfect, and there are some unfortunate moments. Just as you can see, now we haven't captured some parts of the image, but the main parts is selected pretty well. Therefore, we can take, for example, a polygonal selection tool. The Edit to Selection mode should be enabled, and we can edit the missing fragments. For example, something like this. Don't forget to close. Edit this piece. And edit another piece here. Well, I haven't done it very well. It could be done better. Well, I think the principle is clear, and I will copy it to a new layer. and, for example, create a white background for this image. Sometimes it is necessary when creating different layouts, for example, and by pressing Ctrl plus backspace, I fill in white, because in my case this is the background color. Now you know how to use these two interesting operations. And today's homework will be to create a collage like this, using the focus area operation, and create a selected area and replace this background with white. That's it for today. It was Peter Romanov and AIM School. See you next time.